I'm alive. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the end of season podcast with Blues Focus podcasts. Me, Tommy Kelsall, Jamie Lawler, Zach Woods, and Sam Sheppy. Good evening, boys. How are we all doing?
Stupid question, mate.
Stupid
Anyone
want to go first with that?
Yeah.
Well, we're not good, Tommy. We're not good, mate. As you
Yeah.
can see, Birmingham City relegated at the bottom of our screens isn't exactly bringing the positivity tonight. But hey, there you go. What can you do?
I know it's going to be a weird one to talk about. I'm pretty sure we're live. I will just double check. It's not.
It does say live in the top corner.
It's just not coming up on my phone though, unless my Wi-Fi is incredibly bad at the moment, which it has been. So if it's just notifications come through. Yeah, I think we've been going live. So usually when I have the intro, I can pace myself at things. But if the intro hasn't already done, welcome to the end of season podcast. This is just going to be a basic a roundup podcast of the 23-24 season, and also relegation into League One. Right. Let's just see where it takes us from. So I think what the thing we should probably kick off with is just the relegation itself. So I'm going to go to Jamie first because we're going to have some fiery opinions from you.
Why me?
Kick us off, Jamie.
Kick us off, man. What's your thoughts about the the shite that's gone on, basically?
What can you say? Like, it's been a very, very, very difficult, mad season, hasn't it? We were fifth, comfortable. Change or two come in. We just fell down the league and just dropped. It's been coming, hasn't it? For the last couple of years, we've flirted with it, and I'm trying to look at the positives. Is this the chance to finally churn out the team, get rid of all the dead wood, start again and build? Because teams like Ipswich have done it, and look where they are now. It is what it is, but the heartbreak was the last day, weren't it? You won, you got to your 50 points. And like I just said before we started, in my head at half time, I sat there having a fag, talking to the lads, and I was like, the law of average surely states to me that if we do what we've got to do, three things can't go against us today. Because there's been that much shit that's gone against us this season that the one time we need one thing to go our way, i.e. Leicester, just please, and then no, of course no, we just lost. They all 3-1. So listen, but I can't go on crying about other teams' results. Fair play to Sheff Wednesday, especially for pulling that out the absolute fire. Absolutely. Let's be honest, we can all get annoyed about it, but we weren't good enough for the two games prior to it. Rotherham wanted to take someone down, and they took us down with them, and we said that was going to happen if we didn't beat them. Huddersfield, we had a capitulation at the start of the second half, and yet again a sloppy goal has cost us, but it's okay. We have to accept it, take it on the chin, move down to League One, and pray to God that we don't underestimate League One, because it's not as easy as people think it's going to be.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said there, because I think the Huddersfield game particularly, just like if we keep hold of that lead and we are safe, that's how close it all was. Really, it was one of the closest relegation battles for a while, actually. I mean, I remember seeing, I think it was from February when we first got suckered into it, just of how close it all was. It was from us to, I think it was about 12th, where it was 3 points between everybody. So it was an incredibly close relegation battle. So anybody could have got suckered into it. It's just that we were that team, really, unfortunately. And I don't know, over the course of a season, I mean, we 100% have sleepwalked into it. We weren't destined for relegation at the start of the season, kind of like how we were with under Eustace. But we've just, I don't know, I think we've underestimated maybe the fact that we haven't got really many solid foundations to build anything off of, really. I think because we brought in some really good players. I think I do rate some of the players that we got, like Buchanan and Laird, and those players have been good this season. So I don't know. It's maybe they weren't seasoned enough. Maybe they weren't consistent enough. I don't know. But I mean, like Carl in the comments here saying that hiring Rooney was the worst decision we could have made, and that one is one of the main factors. But I was on a podcast the other day and I was talking about it, and I was saying that
just your face, Jamie.
Just I've tweaked another little screw in Jamie's just in that pipe that's going to explode in a minute.
I'm actually rather calm. I'm really chill. I'm just like,
you don't look it.
No, I'm actually alright. I'm genuinely so numb about it at the minute. I'm just I gave so much emotion into that day and so much hope and that. Right now, I just feel completely just deprived of all hope and happiness with Birmingham City right now. I'm just a little bit numb, and I'm just like, I'm hurt, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but we have to stand up and be counted for on this one. It is what it is. If I'm going to blame Wayne Rooney partly on the relegation, yes, another big factor for me is conceding a lot of goals, and getting rid of Kevin Long in January is a stupid move we did, because he was arguably our best defender. And I would die on that hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, give us a few takes on what it is. I've just seen somebody in the comments say Jamie needs to calm down.
It's only been 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, I echo everything that Jamie said about some of the mistakes that we've made. And I think with the players that we brought in, ultimately, they're going to struggle with the amount of managers that we had this season. Any team would struggle with that amount of managers. And I think the whole chopping and changing, I've said it before in previous podcasts, where it's so relentless, the Championship, where you make one wrong move and you then have to make loads of decisions trying to make up for that mistake. And I think that's what we were doing sort of the whole season with the whole chopping and changing of managers. Obviously, the stuff that happened with Tony Mowbray was unpreventable. We didn't know he was going to step away with health problems, but it kind of just sums up our season. Like the luck, just we didn't have any of it, especially on the final day where I really thought that one of the teams would lose that we were sort of competing with to stay in the league. And when you're looking at obviously all the scores coming in and everything, I think as soon, I said it before I went on air, as soon as that Blackburn goal went in against Leicester, I kind of knew then that it was relegation for us. And despite us winning the game and it being like a sort of fabulous atmosphere at the ground, I mean, you look at some of the grounds, the games we had this season at St Andrews, some of the sellouts, actually some really good memories from those games, like the game for me against Sunderland where I went to it. I went back to that game and I thought like Blues are back, you know, like the atmosphere, the ground. I just thought the feel-good factor around the place after that result was brilliant. And then after that, I think a few days later, wasn't it? It was announced that Mowbray was stepping away, and that's where we started to fall off again.
I know, yeah. It's such a, like you say, such an unforeseen circumstance. I don't know. I don't think even the club really knew how to react. It's why we had Venus in for a while. We definitely should have gotten this interim manager in quicker. But it's all the beauty of hindsight, you know, because had we won a few games under Venus, then it might not have been a big issue. But I don't know. But did we not have like a international break between that point as well? I swear we might have had something like that.
Because I think the following game was Ipswich, wasn't it? Ipswich away.
That feels like there was a break between that.
There may have been.
I feel like there was, at least, anyway. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a lot of games this season, like you say, where, you know, just not picking up results here and there, you know, and it's not gone our way. And I think that there's been a bit of luck involved in it as well at times. You know, I feel like there's been a few games where we've been much the better team, but just couldn't find the back of the net, and then they get one crappy goal, really. I think that Watford game was a little bit like that as well, where we were quite in control at times. So we weren't dominating in like an amazing way. But then Watford just get a goal before the half time, and that was it, you know, and the whole atmosphere drops and everything was just like, we're going to lose now. And I don't think we've really gotten better with that. And obviously we haven't, because we've left it until the final day to try and stay up, and we haven't, you know. And I don't know, but at the start of the season, we looked very good. So I don't know, Zach, what was your feelings about the start of the season when it was all kicking off?
Well, I mean, start of the season went so well, didn't it? John Eustace was obviously following him from last season. And I mean, prior to Rooney being sacked, we were fifth. It's ridiculous, isn't it? We were fifth in the league and we sack a manager. And it's not as if we're a club who's new to this. This has happened before. We should have learned from past mistakes, and we haven't. I mean, the season all in has just been, it's been a mess, hasn't it? And we've said it before, it's never boring being a Birmingham City fan. And this season has epitomised that completely. But started so well under Eustace, won the 2 prior games before he was sacked. Obviously, Rooney comes in, and I think the general feeling around the fan base was disappointment behind that decision. A few were happy about it, and I can see why, because some weren't fully behind Eustace being the right man to take us forward. Tried out Rooney. Obviously, that went horrendously wrong. And if I had to say I don't think it's right to blame one factor on relegation. There's so many reasons why we've been relegated this season, but in my opinion, Rooney's certainly a big one. And we've just had so many managers on the sidelines, so many different players. Tommy, you mentioned that there's been no sort of core in the team, and you look each week and the lineup's pretty much different. We've had so many players to work with. The lineups have changed. The managers on the sidelines have changed. It's just been a mess. It's been such a mess, hasn't it? So if there was a season to go down, I think we've chosen a good one, because in the previous 4 or 5 years, you know, relegation has threatened huge financial problems, potentially liquidation. So we've picked and chosen our time correctly, if that's a positive. But you know what? It is what it is. We're still a football club, which I think we can be very grateful for, because in the past, as I said, that's maybe not been the case if we had got relegated. League One's going to throw up new opportunities, new clubs to play against, new grounds to go to. No international breaks. That's got to be a bonus. Earlier entries into cups and more Blues games to go to. I'm trying to find the positives, Jamie. I'm really trying. Obviously relegation is awful, but let's try and look at the positives somewhat. I don't know. Mess of a season, Tommy. Mess of a season.
It has been, yeah. I think Lee in the comments says here, like, that January transfer window and not buying a striker. At the time, I don't think I realised how much of a shit show that window was, honestly, because we had a lot of players out injured. We only had one striker in Stansfield because Djukovic and Hogan just weren't up to the standards that he was. And we had no core of the team that were like properly fit. We had like Buchanan was out injured for quite a while. I think Ethan Laird was also out injured for quite a bit as well. That's why Cody Drama stepped in. Like, we had no replacements for them as well. So like if one of the centre backs got injured, it meant moving Lee Buchanan into centre back and then shifting somebody out on the other way. It's like when we played Hull, wasn't it, where we had like a back four made out of Cody Drama, Ethan Laird, I think it was Iwu and Lee Buchanan or something like that. It was like, why didn't we think like we needed to get players in on the transfer window as well? Because the thing is as well, like, I know people, it's not very popular to have a go at the owners, and I'm definitely not going to in this podcast, because it's all hindsight as well. When Blues been relegated, you can always point your fingers. Oh, should have done this, should have done that. It's like I saw a few people at the league game on Saturday, and they were talking to me about, it was this game that we got relegated. It was like, well, yeah, but also like we've drew and lost a lot of games this season, so it could have been any one of those games really. So like it's all down to anything, but like the owners, I feel like haven't got the gist of how to properly run the team just yet. I think business wise, they're getting that pretty much nailed on. They're bringing the attraction to us. Getting more eyes at the club, but like sacking Eustace and not getting anybody in the transfer windows at the January transfer window, it's like they're key mistakes they are, and it's like as well, like moving players around so many times, it's just not right. We had no consistency in the team, and just it is what it is really when you come to big situations like trying to stay up, because it's like, well, so you've left it too late. You've revised for an exam, literally. You've done none of the revision, and you do it the night before. So it's like, well, what could you expect really? So we need to really the owners need to build the team again next season. Like all of the things they've done with like the UB40 concerts and the stadium, and they're doing Blues Fest tomorrow as well. Somebody commented about that. It's all good, it's all interesting things. And Gary Cook's definitely headed up a lot of those, which I know he's at the forefront for the Rooney brought in or whatever. But he's probably doing his job okay, to be honest. He's just getting money in through the door. But people in like terms of the football on the pitch, they need to step their game up, because it's you can't just cruise a league like that. I think they maybe have thought that they could do it a little bit with it this season because we had a good start to the season. Probably think that we didn't have to do as much. So it's one of those really. So I don't know. I probably rambled a bit there.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. I think it's harsh, and I've seen quite a few people doing this to pinpoint relegation on one specific moment, one specific decision, one specific game. I'm seeing the whole clips doing the rounds where was it Tufan, however you say his name, handballed it into that. So many things have gone against us this season.
Talking about the goal.
The handball. I mean, so many things have gone against us. So many things have just not worked out this season. It's been an accumulation of poor appointments, poor management, poor performances. So much has gone wrong this season, which is why we're down. What I will say is, I think I saw a stat the other day, which sort of I couldn't really believe. I think Blues are the 6th team in Championship history to go down, having hit 50 points, which did surprise me, but didn't surprise me because, I mean, looking at the Championship prior to the season, it's the strongest Championship we've seen in a very long time. I think point in case, even the top 3, Leeds not going up automatically despite hitting 90+ points. It was always going to be a tough season because the team had a lot of changes. It turned out that the sidelines had a lot of changes too. The quality of teams was stronger than ever in the Championship. It's just been one of those years for Blues, and sadly, we're paying the price for all the poor decisions that have happened throughout the year and the poor performances. It's just one of those things. Hopefully next year we can see a few more positive performances and a few more positive results.
I think you're right, but I would actually argue that the Championship is weaker than it ever has been, actually, because
Really?
I got to be honest, right? I don't really. I know Ipswich have been fantastic this season, and they've made back-to-back promotions, and credit to them, absolutely incredible. But when Ipswich are getting promoted over Leeds, who have just gotten relegated from the Premier League, or it's their first season back, isn't it, in the Championship? Yeah, it is. Yeah, and teams like us and Huddersfield have gotten relegated. I don't think it is as strong as it is, because it was close, like really close in terms of from 12th to where we were near the relegation zone. I think everybody's kind of, apart from a couple of teams, maybe like Leicester and Ipswich, who really stepped their game up and everything. But even Leicester were a little bit dodgy from time to time. But like the difference between the team, there's not a lot in it really. I don't think there is. Like you compare like Norwich to, I don't know, maybe Middlesbrough. Like Middlesbrough made the semi-finals of the League Cup this season, so I don't know. I don't think it is a very strong division this season. It has been this season, and I don't know about next season. I think it might be even worse, really, because they're taking other teams out of it. Leicester are going up, Ipswich are going up. Teams that are coming down like Sheffield United, maybe Luton and Burnley. It's like, I don't know. I get I get your point, obviously, because we've just sleptwalked our way into it. But I guess that kind of proves it even more, really, the fact that we haven't really, we haven't stayed on top of it, and we were feeling like, we're probably going to have a bit of a terrible end to the season, and we've just gone further and further down, really. So it's like, I think we've done that, really. I think we've been really underperforming in quite a crap division, really. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, Tommy, like you say about Ipswich going up, and you say that kind of makes the Championship weaker because they've just come up from League One. But I think a lot of it now in the Championship is style of play. Like if you look at Ipswich's style of play, some of the football they play is fantastic. And Kieran McKenna's done a fantastic job at Ipswich. He got manager of the season, rightly so. And the way that he plays with Ipswich, the way that he sets out his players, they may not be the best on paper, but the way they operate and what they're told to do is fantastic. And I think that's the long-term goal for Birmingham, because I remember very well, I think the owners have spoke about the way that they want Birmingham to play football and the percentage of teams that have gone up playing an attacking style of football. And I think us dropping down to League One will actually make it easier to execute this style of football, because the opposition will be weaker. And with a massive turnaround of players, you want to bring in players that are more comfortable on the ball, and also younger players as well, to sort of nurture them and get them used to this style of play as well. Sort of right down from the academy. I expect a lot of academy players to get a chance next season. And the football that they're playing, I think the under-18s won their league, didn't they? Under-21s in the playoffs. So I think it's a brilliant opportunity to give these guys a chance, and also a chance in the first team of playing a style of football, which is us on the front foot, having more possession than the other team, because I've had it so many years with Birmingham where we're so used to us like sitting back off opposition and not dictating the play. Whereas I think long-term, that's the way to get out of the Championship. And that's what Ipswich have done, going down to League One and then kind of having that reset button that they did, going up from League One to the Championship and then straight up from the Championship to the Premier League. So I think so much of it is down to a style of football, and that's what we've now got to develop long term. And hopefully in League One, we can actually go at teams, dominating possession, score lots of goals and get back up there.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree with that, because that's what they were talking about, the open house, the very first one. They were saying that we want to play this style of football. And I was like, yeah, great. Which I just thought they also at the same time was like, not with this team, though. We just ain't that club.
To do it midway through a season and hiring the manager that we did to do it, it just never was going to work.
No, I agree. I think it would definitely have worked if we'd have kept some of the players in their more natural positions, because what was the biggest noticeable thing at the time when Rooney when he first came in, I thought, what, I get it, because the business wise, what Gary Cook is thinking, obviously he wants to get in a big name manager for bigger signings, and it's genius if it works out as well. But he didn't consider the fact that Rooney wanted to bring in his style of play, and that wasn't going to work with this team, because the first thing he did was drop Sunjic into like a defensive 3 almost, and then he put Dembele in attacking midfield. It was like, what, you don't know this team then, do you? And that's, I get it, because he said that obviously this team ain't good enough to play the style of football I want. He was angry with that, and I was like, yeah, but also you're not reading the room very well. And I don't think the owners and I don't know whether it was the owners or whoever's ideas it was to try and play that style of football. It does work, because obviously teams that have been promoted get that style of play, but also I don't think they were following a trend that didn't apply to the team that they were trying to use. And we were never going to get promoted with this team ever. Obviously, we haven't even stayed in the division because of it, but obviously, we're more than capable of staying in the division. We just slacked towards the end of the season, haven't we? Which has cost us big time. But that team easily should finish in the top half. Easily. Like 12. You're saying that Sariki Dembele on the left and that back four and all those players and Stansfield up front, easily should be playing it. But we've tried other things. And when it was getting to like Rooney's last game, he was playing Zach's favourite mate. He was playing Longella at left back. He hadn't been in the team for about four months or something like that. It's like
he just hit the panic button, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I think everybody hit the panic button once the results started going wrong way. And like when Tom Magner said, I was disappointed by like the atmosphere around the game and that whole game. I was like, well, you've just sacked our manager and we're falling down the table again. It's like, what do you expect from us? And that's probably the only thing that has annoyed me about this season is perhaps the way that they've gone about that sort of Rooney thing is because like obviously they can't just come out and say, yeah, we fucked up. What do you expect? Obviously that's never going to happen. But also at the same time, there's not been quite enough about it. It's like, oh, we've gone down, we'll rebuild and everything. But it's also like, yeah, but we were sixth. Like, surely they must know that, and they must know that that really hits home with Blues as well, because we've been here three times before, two times, three times, including
too many times,
too many fucking times, yeah. But they just didn't read the room, and they didn't read the situation quite right, and that's something I really hope that just stops now, because you were saying earlier, Zach, that that's the last time when Rowett got sacked. Is I hope we never have to go through this again. We're still going through it. It's like, oh come on, Blues, learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, I know. You touched on it early with the new owners and whether the right decisions have been made. Maybe it's just not quite that understanding of English football yet. There was concerns about that prior to them even being appointed. Like I said before, there's been so many things that have just gone against us this season. The big one being the Rooney appointment. That was a big one because no sane club and no club in their right mind sacks a manager when their club are fifth in the league. No matter what they want going forward, if you're fifth in the league, and given they'll have known Birmingham City's history, they'll have known for the last 6, 7, 8 years, however long, we've always been struggling down the bottom of the Championship. So to be fifth in the league is an unbelievable achievement. And it's like we just hit the self-destruct button and we can't cope with the success we were experiencing. And I saw quite an interesting graph. I can't remember who tweeted it, but it was just looking at the trajectory of clubs throughout the season and how their time's gone. In Blues, it just starts up here and it just plummets. It just plummets. And that happened as soon as Eustace was sacked. So Rooney kick-started the relegation push. And others have helped us get there. It's so frustrating, honestly. It's not fair to blame an individual because it's, as is football, the 11 players are responsible. The 6 managers who have been on the sidelines have been responsible. The people who have made these decisions are responsible. Everyone's responsible for this relegation. It's just one of those things. Some people are saying it's maybe a good thing to reset, rebuild. It's always tricky. I mean, the financial impacts of going down this time at least aren't as detrimental as they would have been. But we'll just have to see how we do in League. I can't believe what I'm saying. We'll just have to see how we do in League One. But
I know that's the worst bit about it. It's like when I was doing my intro for my vlog the other day. I did it the day before, and I was sat there just trying to think of what to say. I was like, what the hell do I say? Like, we're Birmingham City. We're about to be relegated into League One. It's like those. Fair enough. We're in the Championship for God knows how long. We probably are. We're probably more of a Championship team. Like we are really, like we are a Championship team. But like there's not even been like a season in the Premier League. It's just been 13 years. I was 8 the last time we were in the Premier League, and we just fell and we just stuck there for ages. And now I'm saying we're going to go into League One. It's like, what do I say about this? I've got no experience about League One at all. I've probably watched about 8 games of League One football before, and majority of those are probably the playoff final. That's it, really. So like. It's I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some great games next season. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I 100% believe we will be pushing for promotion. I can't believe for the life of me to think that we'll be in like a Derby situation when they first went down, because we're not in that situation. But there is a bit of me that's thinking, if it's like the third last game of the season with third in the league, we need a win to try and get into the automatic positions. I'm thinking, Well, that would be very Blues, actually. Yeah, I can see that happening. Just like falling into the playoffs and then losing. That's what I'm really worried about. I'm quite happy with the teams we've got to play next season. Quite looking forward to going to Stockport at Edgeley Park. I went there a couple of weeks ago. I was like, this is a good little ground, actually. You know, it's decent setup and everything. They're obviously a team that's back on the rise. Stockport on the rise again. There's a couple of other teams like Stevenage and other teams like that. So that'll be great, you know. And obviously, Wrexham's the big game of the season. I imagine they'll be up there with us, you know, pushing for promotion. Obviously, they're a very well-run side.
They're going to do some social media thing, aren't they? With Ryan Reynolds and Tom Brady. They're going to just be Sky going to be all over it. Put it that way.
What do you reckon
they'll get that fixture?
Do you remember how they branded it with Blues Coventry when they were at our ground, like landlords versus tenants? What's it going to be for the Blues Wrexham derby, the big game next season?
It's like Hollywood versus the NFL or something like that.
Maybe that might work. Yeah.
I think
Battle of America.
I think it's. I've seen a few different people talking, and don't get me wrong, I'm no League One expert. You know, I probably know it. You know, not too much, but I think it's important not to underestimate League One because more often than not, clubs go down and they don't come straight back up, and that's just how football works. I'd say the one thing we have on our side where a lot of clubs don't is the financial resources. In that we do have the opportunities to invest and bring in some players. But once you're down, we've spoken about relegation so many times on this podcast. It's a joke. And we've all said before, you know, it's with some people arguing for relegation for Blues, you know, it's once you're down, it is tough to get back up. And I agree with you, Tommy. I'd be surprised if we weren't pushing for playoffs. I think that's completely reasonable and fair to say, given our current squad and the money we should have. However, it might not be a case of one season in League One. It could be 2, 3, 4. We just don't know. No one knows. I think if we can keep some of our players, it'd be interesting to see because I think our squad's going to look so different next year. But hopefully if we can keep a few of them along with some decent investment, then I think we could really push for promotion back up. However, I don't think it's as easy as just coming down and going straight back up. There'll be plenty of obstacles along the way as there have been this season.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, like, there's a comment I want to read out here. Just like talking of match days, are we going to be treated to away days with Angry J? match vlogs next season.
Why does everyone think I'm some angry man?
It would be great to see Jamie on the match
I've
day.
literally spoke the least on this podcast so far. I've said, I had 5 minutes at the start and I've said nothing since. I've been like a mouse here, just kind of going, okay. I mean, I was literally about to say, we're going to need a big bloody squad next year because if you go far in that paint trophy, followed by round 1 FA Cup, followed by everything, you're talking it could be 70 odd games with no international break. It's going to be a very, very, very busy year for any Blues fan. It's going to be brutal. Not in a bad way. It'd be great. Like there's a lot of grounds people are going to tick off. It's, you know, there's positives to it. And we said we needed to go on Netflix at some point, and now we've got it through Wrexham. So who's the real winner?
That is true.
Not us.
I think that I've just seen the guy on the in the chat just saying talk about some more positive things. And I agree. I definitely think next season will be a good season. I think it will be quite interesting to see. But also, I saw a comment in my vlog the other day. I can't remember who it was from. Apologies for that. But he said he kind of got it nailed on for me. He said like the club owe us like an automatic bounce back to the league. I was like, he's spot on about that, you know, because. You know what else? What if we don't go up straight away? There's like another big fuck you to the fans. Almost, it's like we've been struggling for how long it is, still turning up to every game. I mean, I've been to how many games I've been to this season? Right, 39 games. I've travelled 6,000 miles to go and watch the club in, week out, and we've been relegated. We've only seen how many wins this season? 2 wins, bloody hell. We're like Rotherham then if we're going to see.
I think it was like 3 away from home or something ridiculous like that in the league.
Yeah,
like,
12 wins. We've only seen 12 wins. It's like it's this shit all over again, really. So like if we don't go up straight away next season, it's like again, it's like the fuck, really. So I know that was meant to be a positive thing, but it's very little to stay positive at the moment.
I think that there's positivity and there's being realistic. I think it is important to be positive, and don't get me wrong, I do think by all accounts it will be a positive season next year for Blues. Because regardless, I think we're going to win a lot more games of football and we're going to be up there challenging. Will we come straight back up? I don't know. Who's to say? Who knows? I think we'll have a much clearer picture in our mind once the transfer window's done and dusted. We see what our squad looks like. And I think the first 10 games next season will be very telling in terms of how Blues are going to fare, where we're going to finish, how we're going to get on. It's quite exciting. I think it's quite exciting to see Blues in a different environment. Hopefully, a squad of players who are hungry and want this success. And that there's been questions of, can the players up for it this season? And I just don't know. But hopefully next season, we'll be up there challenging and pushing for playoffs and maybe even automatics. Who knows?
Yeah,
I just
we hope
want
so.
to see more wins. I just want to see wins and goals.
Season where we win
That's
more
all I
games than
want.
we lose.
Just, you know what I mean? Just, I don't want to have to leave the amount of games I left this season at St Andrew just going, what have I just literally had to watch for 90 minutes? Like, what is this? Why am I watching Iwu dart down the right wing like he's some kind of wing back? Like, what are you doing? Like, the amount of times that I just had to sit there and just be like, why is Iwu like gone from centre back and why is he tracking someone in there out? What's going on? Like, why we just the goals we concede at times? I'm just like, please, like, just anything.
I know, yeah.
Listen, it's going to be okay. I'm genuinely more positive than I thought I'd be. Annoyed about it. I don't think it's really sunk in for me yet, relegation, in terms I haven't really thought about it. I think when the fixtures get released, that's when it's going to hit home for me and I'm going to go, oh God, right. Like,
we're playing teams like Exeter. Fuck me. That's going to be an interesting one. I think that's the first thing that I initially thought because obviously on the day when we were officially relegated, the game hadn't finished. So we're all sat round and just like, well, what do we do now? We've still got 2 minutes to play, obviously, because the game was slightly delayed in the first half. And I was just sat there just like, oh yeah, so we literally can't do anything. I was kind of expecting Norwich to equalise, actually. They had one shot at the end. I thought, don't fly into the back of the net. That'll just be like the icing on the cake, really. But I just thought, God, yeah, we are in League One now. So I was flicking through like on my phone, just like on the league next season. And obviously I've had to change my following on FOTMob to League One, not the Championship, which was... very depressing at the time. But teams like Lincoln, who I remember watching in the FA Cup back in 2017 when they were a National League side. So we're playing them next season. Playing Blackpool again, so that'll be quite fun to do. Wickham, Leyton Orient. There's a couple of other teams in it. The Cambridge as well. Flipping heck. They'll probably put that on the Tuesday night, knowing the bastards, honestly. It's like travel all that flipping way to go and watch us lose 1-0 to Cambridge in the last minute of the game.
I've already looked it up. Someone said to me, our furthest away game is Exeter, isn't it? If you're going from St Andrews, that's going to be a Tuesday night. I'm telling you
I know
now,
it will be, yeah.
that any game that is over 100 miles from Birmingham City away, they're going to literally go Blackpool away. Every Blues fan looks forward to Blackpool away because it's a great weekend. They're going to go, fuck you, have it in the winter on a Tuesday night. Have some of that. Absolutely.
I know Plymouth away last season was on a Saturday, wasn't it? Because Tommy, you said about the journey you took to Plymouth.
Holy shit, it was a long way, honestly. We had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. And we got the coach because my dad was just like, I'm not driving all that way there and back. We got the coach down. And I honestly, I mean, I love the... I love Tony Routley's and everything, but playing jump around at 5 o'clock in the morning, driving down from Quinton to Plymouth wasn't exactly the idea I had. I was kind of just looking to, get my head down and sleep for a bit. that was a tough day out, let's be honest. But I love the guys still; they're very funny. But yeah, honestly, I mean, like the guy in the comments saying Waterlog Pidge, obviously, because that
oh god,
what game was it? Was it the Crawley game in League Two that got postponed and moved? There could be a few of those maybe next season. I mean, like the difference though between the two leagues and like the teams and everything, it's massive, isn't it? Like teams like I've got Burton next season. Forgot about that. That's definitely 6 points.
Bogey team. Burton. And I remember when they were in the Championship, and there was one of the games that was towards the end of one of the seasons. I think it was 17-18, wasn't it? Where we absolutely battered them, and I don't think we won the game, did we? It was 1-1 or something.
Yeah, but I think it was 1-1, wasn't it? Because Duke got the end of the back post, didn't they? Yeah, I don't think we've ever beat them in the league. We've beat them in the cup before.
Have we not? Have we genuinely not beat Burton in the league?
We beat them in the league before.
No. That's ridiculous. That is nuts.
They're an big bogey team for us, and they survived like on 2 points. It's like
there's a Lloyd Dye still play for him
next season, isn't there? I just can see it coming already.
I had an absolute throw. Go on, Sat. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think it's nuts as well. Like the difference in teams, as you said, Tommy, you've got so many big clubs mixed in with so many small clubs in League One. It's so weird. It's just, it doesn't. I think, like you said, Jamie, like relegation just doesn't really feel real at the moment. And even following the game, I was like, don't get me wrong, I was gutted, but like it just hasn't really clicked. I think when we have those first few games, like you say, Jimmy, when that fixture list is released and we've got Exeter away on the Tuesday, followed by Cambridge at home on the Saturday, like games like that, I think that's when it's going to hit. But at the moment, it just doesn't feel real. Like,
what do you think Palace is going to be like at St Andrews? Like, what do you think is going to be the average gate at home?
I'm hoping that we just push for it still. I'm hoping Pompey literally sold out most weeks in there, like when they were in there. Like, I'm hoping we can start. I'm not saying 28,000 because we hardly did that in the Championship a couple of times, but hopefully keeping it on the 18, 19
28,000.
Because my dad said to me about when Blues were in League One in like the early 90s when it was Barry Fry in charge, and he said about some of the attendances then, and they weren't a lot. No, and he said it could be like that again. I'm like, surely it won't be that bad, but I don't know. He's been there and seen it. So
I think I will go for something like 19,000 maybe. It'll be like an average. That's what I think it will be. But the thing I definitely know for sure is that the away fans next season is going to be huge for us. Because honestly, who's not going to want to come to St Andrews? It's like when Sunderland got relegated into League One, wasn't it? It's like they just will want to come to it. They're like there'll be fans looking there and thinking, right, when we got the Blues, we'll save up for that one. We'll go to that one. That'll be good because. I mean, like, Steve just commented, FA Cup first round. Yeah, I forgot about that. But that's a reality next season as well. But the away fans, they'll bring a lot, and that'll be good to see actually as well. Because I don't know, I've been disappointed by away fans at Blues lately. They haven't really brought much, have they?
Are you ready for Arsenal under 21s in the Papa John Trophy and shit like that as well? Because that's another one we got to deal with. Also,
the Villa under 21s.
Oh,
we'll probably lose them.
Don't say that, Tommy. Don't say that. Don't say that.
And I'm going to ask a really stupid question. The comments are about to absolutely roll for me for this one. A Papa John's Trophy, right? If you get an under 21s team away, do you play at their actual ground? I.e., if you get like no, I didn't think so. I think
it's like a smaller ground that's in the region. That's what it is. Because like I think, say for instance, Tottenham's under 21s play at Stevenage, and then I think Arsenal's play at Peterborough or something. So it should be standard ground.
That's what I mean. There's so many games next year. Like this is going to be Tuesday, Saturday, Friday, Monday. It's going to be brutal, isn't it? Like this is going to be long. It's great. Like we get to see more football.
What type of teams do we reckon we'll face in the FA Cup? Because the guy's he's obviously joking about it, but like Preston Park in the first round of Cup, will we get like those type of real low league national?
There'll be a lot of non-league teams in there, because it's like League One, League Two get introduced first round, and then there's a lot of non-league ones that come into it as well.
When does it start? The first round? What is
November? Talking August, September, November-ish. Yeah,
really?
It's November.
Yeah.
Really?
The FA qualifying for like National League starts, doesn't it sound like pretty much start of the season? They have to go through round.
Yeah. For like the teams that are right down there in like the step 3, step 4, they start literally in the summer. That's you can potentially get like a Kidderminster Harriers or anything like that.
Look at Alfreton this season. Look at Alfreton Town this season playing Walsall, and there's so many games like that. West Ham played Kiddie. Was it last season? Can't remember now. We could get some interesting sides. So. That's exciting, at least.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that's... I thought it was round 2. Well, obviously, I know nothing about League One. It's round 1, isn't it? So that's not fun. It's, I thought, genuinely, I didn't even know how early in the season that was, really. Maybe, I don't know, if I is certain, I don't know. But, yeah. It's... although Liam Carter says no under 21 always plays away. Okay, so I think that's for the
because I know they have a thing in that group stage, don't they? If it's a draw, then it goes to a penalty shootout for an extra point or something like that. They've got some weird rules in that competition.
It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to make the vlog look great, though.
I'll tell you what, Blues Focus is going to be absolutely smashing out the videos next year, lads. I tell you.
Fucking Exeter away. Honestly, it's going to be a fun vlog to make.
Shall we manoeuvre onto a very painful topic, which is who stays? Who do we think stays? Who do we think we have to say goodbye to, unfortunately?
Well, I think it was Blues Breakdown who did it on Twitter the other day. See if I can find the tweet, if you can just talk amongst yourself. I can find like the stuff on there.
Go on, Zach, you're good at filling time. Go on, lad.
I think we're going to be saying goodbye to quite a few, I'll be honest, because I think quite a lot of them will be on higher wages than what League One is. There's not FFP in League One, is there? Or is there?
I don't think so.
I've seen something about this where it's like how much you can spend as percentage of revenue or something.
Yeah, it's
like
it's done differently. it's a bit different. I'm not 100% sure how. I still think we'll be saying goodbye to a lot of them, a lot of the loan players. I think a lot of them won't want to stay because, you know, a lot of them, it's quite a young side, and for a lot of them, they'll want to be playing higher level football. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see that list and sort of work through the players, because I do think we'll keep hold of a few, and I think a few will probably tear up League One or just excel in League One. But yeah, it's going to be quite interesting.
Do you want to go through the list then?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I've got it here on my phone. So we'll read out all of them. So there's an out of contracted list, and then there's a contracted list. Obviously, the two keepers are out of contract: Neil Etheridge and John Ruddy. Do you keep them? Do you sell them? Do you get rid of them? Sorry.
I mean, I would have. One name that's been bandied about so much is Victor Johansson for Rotherham. I'd have loved him, but he's going to go to another Championship side. I'd be surprised if he wanted to come to Blues, given our League One status now. So in terms of Ruddy and Etheridge goes. He's on such high wages, and I'd be very surprised. Ruddy, I don't know. Do we want? Personally, I'd like to see Blues get a younger keeper in, one more for the future. Yeah. I think overall, Ruddy's time at Blues, he's been solid 90% of the time. However, I would like Blues to get someone younger in, someone who's more catered to stay at the club for the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
He actually got the team of the season, didn't he, Ruddy? Like on the who scored team of the season. So like, statistically, he actually was voted like the best goalkeeper in the Championship, which is.
I kind of agree with that though, in a weird way, because the thing is, like, I was thinking about it with the Euros, the last Euros, and when I was going through my England team, I actually thought that a good shout for the keeper rather than Pickford would have been someone like Sam Johnston, because he was down at the bottom of the table at the time for West Brom, and those type of keepers are always in really good form because they're having to be. And like Ruddy, he saved us a lot this season, really. Like, you considered, like, I think the EFL had it beneath it. It was like why they put him in there. If I can find the actual what they said about him. But like, had we not had him, he would have we'd have been down ages ago. We'd have been down with Rotherham. They said that Birmingham relegated on the final day of the season, but their drop into League One would have been confirmed sooner had it not been for Ruddy's performances between the sticks. Ruddy ranked second for saves, 151, and the fourth best save for success, 70.2%, rating of 6.79. Of course, obviously it's not very high because we got relegated, but like, stats for a relegated keeper, that's pretty good. You know, I would keep him, to be honest, because we can get a younger keeper in, like we kind of did with Matthias Sarkic when we had Bowyer, and then we keep Etheridge on the bench as like our cup keeper or whatever. But if he's, I think if people are interested in getting him, like Eustace is at Blackburn, for example, I wouldn't give him another contract. You know, I'd let him go and that sort of stuff. I think that if other people are interested in having them, then I would lean to just letting them have them, really, because I mean, there's nobody on that list, maybe apart from a couple, that there are loanees actually. So I might cipher through a few of those. But really, like, I don't know. It's a difficult one to try and work out. But what are we going for? We've gone for Etheridge to leave. So as a collective, are we going for Ruddy to stay or leave?
Yeah, I'd like Ruddy to stay. I think he's had a very good season. I'd like us to get a younger keeper as well, but I'd be more than happy if the season started and Ruddy was still between the sticks.
Yeah, I agree.
I just can't see Ruddy on the bench though in League One.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. I think he'd want to move somewhere where he plays like regular minutes, because I think he's good enough. I mean, we've seen it this season, like literally voted as the best Championship keeper. And I think if we were to let him go, let his contract expire, he would definitely end up at Blackburn. Because Blackburn don't rate Ainsley Pears, they don't rate him at all. So he goes straight to the start 11. I think.
That fucking kick that he did against Sheffield Wednesday, criminal, mate. You deserve prison time for that. Honestly.
He didn't cover himself in glory for the first goal either. It was, not great.
Let's be fair about something with John Ruddy. He's 38 years old. He's had a great career, in all fairness to him. And I think it'd be criminal to make him play in League One when he's good enough to be a Championship goalkeeper.
The decision's got to be his.
And you know what I mean? Like, the only reason he stays down is if they say, John, you're our first choice. You can end your career with a nice, winning medals winner for the league. But that also is not us guaranteeing that we're not, I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think that we're just going to flop the league anyway. So I think you give John the respect he probably deserves and you go, John, you were great. If Blackburn want you and you've got a chance to go and play first team football again, why not? Like, we can bring in, a lot of people have said this, is it Sam Tickle from Wigan I've read a lot about?
He looks decent.
I mean, Pompey had a good keeper this year. Like, I watched him and his distribution with his feet was a joke. I said to John, my best mate, watching, I was like, "Are you joking me? Like, what? Our keeper can't kick a ball."
Yeah, I think
play, he's like
distribution's a
pinging
big
it.
thing, isn't it? It's a massive thing now in goalkeepers, and I think we've had a couple keepers consecutively where the distribution has been fantastic. I mean, I remember Etheridge's distribution. Oh my god, that was so bad.
Yeah, it was a running joke on our vlog, that was for sure.
Oh, it was awful.
But and as much as they can't distribute, you can't deny that they're both fantastic shot stoppers and good at what they have to do. Like, it's been a long time since we had a goalie at Blues that controlled the box the way Ruddy can control it, coming out claiming crosses. I mean, even Norwich at home, that last game, I think start of the second half, Ruddy made a very smart stop at his near post at the start of that half, and I was like, he's still got it. Like, he's still dropping down and like, so. As much as I love Ruddy and I'd want him to stay, I think it'd be, unless you're guaranteeing him first team football, I think it's harsh to make a 38-year-old goalkeeper with, all the stuff he's done in his career to just sit on the bench. Unless I'm wrong and I'm getting pelters in the chat probably telling me that that is what it is.
No, I agree. I think there's so many players as well. Like, we've had quite a big loan list this season. And I'd be very interested to see. I mean, the obvious ones like Stansfield, he's going to go as well. One I always loved, who I feel didn't get quite the game time he deserved towards the back end of the season, was Cody Drama. Always thought he was so solid. If there was a realistic option to keep, had we stayed in the Championship, then Drama would have probably been top of my list. But I think he'll go. I don't know if Tommy can't hear us or what's going on, but.
You might be trying to get up this list, but like with Drama, I thought he was really good defensively. I thought Drama was pretty good, and the whole situation between Led versus Drama, I don't know what you guys think about it, but I think for Drama to get dropped was pretty harsh.
Yeah, it was a tough one actually this season, because we had Buchanan, Led, and Drama, three very, very strong fullbacks, and obviously there's only two in a team, isn't there? So I think, to be honest, Led, I know towards the end of the season sort of started to divide opinion, really. I know his performances sort of started to drop off. I always really liked Drama. I thought he was so solid. I think he deserved a little bit more game time. Be interested to see what happens with him. And Buchanan, I thought he was pretty excellent all season. I thought he was solid. And I imagine Buchanan is one of those that will stay.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, Zach, mate. I listened to all of that because somebody tried to call me,
mate.
And then my computer just had like a minute of just not even anything. Like, cheers, Apple. That was great. I
do it all the time to me. Every time. This is why I'm on my phone. I've had to put my phone in Do Not Disturb because I'm sick to death of people mid-pod phoning me and ruining the whole thing. And then I'm like, I've lost my sync. But yeah, I don't know where we stand with Ruddy. I think it's a very 50-50 in this chat of...
We'll put 50-50 then, because I was obviously not available to contribute to that conversation at all then. Next on the list, Mark Roberts. This can divide opinion. What are we going for?
I like him.
And I like him as well. I think he's obviously had a bit of a tough time recently, obviously, with not really being in the team that much. But he's not been consistent, has he? As many of the players actually have.
My issue is I know he makes mistakes, don't get me wrong. There's two things. One, he's actually a really nice bloke, which I know doesn't affect his footballing ability, so I can take that one out of it. The second one is that people are expecting him to be a ball-playing centre-half when he's a 6'4" shithouse. His job is to aerially win the ball and send it back, which no one can argue that he is very bloody good at. Anything in the air. We played, you know what I mean, the season before, we've gone down this season. The season before when we did keep our away and won 1-0. He was man of the match because it was just 50 balls, kept going into the box, and he just clears it every time. And if you have him set for a job like that, i.e. if you play him in a back five and you play him as the middle man, the big one, to win headers all day long, he'll do a great job. But again, it might be a case of we need a younger and quicker and more athletic team now.
And I think it's also as well that we could get someone probably that does that for less wages as well, because you remember when Mark Roberts was brought in, he was brought in during them batch of signings when Harry Redknapp was here, and obviously he was chucking money left, right and centre. So I imagine the wages that Roberts are on are quite hefty. So if he is going to stay, it's going to be quite a big pay cut.
Yeah.
I think it was the long passes which annoyed me with Roberts most of the time. Like the
and
amount
the
of time he
throws.
the long throws, the long passes.
Right, get him out. No, I'm having that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrexham will love that. Wrexham will be all over Mark Roberts. They love a long throw.
That is true. Yeah, I think I think it's hard to, because obviously there's a lot of people on Twitter who like to scapegoat people, but also at the same time, he has had some pretty big mess ups, and I think we can go for a better player as well. So I would suggest maybe we let him go, particularly if there's other teams that are interested. But I don't know. I don't think, unless there's another argument for him to stay, I'm not entirely sure. Although actually,
He's a
didn't
go
his
for me.
wife say on Instagram that he was
I
pretty
think
much
she's
like
pretty much
leaving?
confirmed
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
might be
think
out
so,
of our
yeah.
control
And
anyway. Then yeah.
he
Because
was
what I think as well
gutted.
about some of these like contract decisions, who's actually making the decisions? Because we haven't properly got a manager for next season yet, have we? So
No,
who's
Yeah.
there's
actually
a lot
making
of
the call
concern
with
about
this?
that as well. Really.
Because certain managers might fancy certain players and keep them, but we just don't know what's happening. So because
There's
I don't
been
know when we've
nothing
got to
about
release
Tony
our
Mowbray,
list.
has there?
I think it's like, was it 18th of May is the deadline for releasing when we can
Yeah.
who we keep hold of or whatever. So we've got to get our managerial situation sorted. But obviously we wish Mowbray all the best and hopefully he's the manager for
100%,
next
yeah.
season. But yeah, I don't know who's making decisions on this.
I know we need to know soon what's going to happen. Whether I would kind of hope actually that by May 18th, the deadline, that we have a decision on the manager as well. Is he fit to continue or not? Obviously, I'd love it if he is because he's a top bloke and everything. But if he isn't, then we need to know. We've got 8 days and to really work out whether the team's going to be as it is next season. We don't know who's still in charge though, so yeah, we need to hopefully hear about that soon. Next person on the list is Marcel Oakley. Haven't seen any of
Didn't
him
really
this
see
season,
him.
have we?
No.
No, I think that's so difficult to comment on because we just don't. Has he been on?
No.
He's been on loan, hasn't he, or is he not?
Did he go to?
I think he was on loan in Scotland, wasn't he? He was on loan in Scotland for a bit, and then he came back and then played for like one of the youth teams, I think.
Yeah.
But
We'll
It's
move
so hard
on
to
then.
comment when we haven't
Yeah,
seen.
we won't comment on him then. We'll go to Sunjic
We'll make
next.
it fair. If they've played like 10 or more games, you can probably comment. But if you haven't seen much of the light of day of them,
Yeah.
like, there's no point even commenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through the loanies afterwards as well because I'm aware that the list we're going off isn't in particular order. But Sunjic, do we keep him? We were talking a little bit about this earlier, weren't we?
it's the most divisive one, I think, out of all the players that
Yeah.
are out of contract, isn't it? If you ask like a group of, I don't know, 5 Blues fans, probably 3 would say yes and 2 would say no, wouldn't they? And I think with Sunjic, I'm in the camp of leave because I think what we've got to try and do next season, if we try and got to be better on the ball, find midfielders that are more comfortable in possession. And I think what Sunjic does, Battler, okay, fine, but I just think going forward, we've got to kind of move away from that category of player. I think we've got to try and look for someone that's a bit more comfortable on the ball, possession-based, and I think the wages that I imagine Sunjic is on, he'd have to take a pay cut to stay. And it's just been that thing, isn't it, where over the years, I think I've more often felt negatively about Sunjic than I have positively. I think this season was a little bit of a revival, but not enough for me to say stay.
If we play him in that position, CDM, sitting with another player alongside him, we'll get the best out of him. But I don't think we will. We'll fuck him about again. So I would probably say leave, even though I think he'll do a good job in League One, to be honest.
I think this is where it becomes divisive, isn't it? I think Ivan Sunjic is a very, very handy player if you are a team battling against relegation. If you're not expecting to have much possession and you need someone to absolutely doghouse it in the middle, win the ball back, snap some tackles in, that's fine. If we're a team that's going to be looking at attempting to get promoted first time and have loads of possession, unfortunately, I don't. And as much as I like his passion for the club and his passion for football, and he gives, can't deny that the man gives every bean of himself.
Really
for that,
shows it,
on that
doesn't
pitch.
he? Yeah.
You know, like when he scored at against Cov and he was crying.
His
like,
celebration
he
was
gives it
full
and
of
he
emotion,
cares.
wasn't it?
But I just don't think if you want to be a team that's building, and if it is Mowbray, and I hope it is because he's a good manager, he's not going to be the kind of guy to deploy an Ivan Sunjic. He wants forward passing players, and Ivan is not that guy, unfortunately. No disrespect to him, love the passion he brings, but I think we have to move on and completely gut out this squad and start again at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Similar player, we go Gary Gardner now. What do we reckon to him?
I think keep.
I
Just
would
for the
say keep as
experience.
well.
Like,
Just because I
I'd
think
say leave. I'd say leave on Gary Gardner.
I think I'd agree with Sam. I think some of these older players I'd like to see Blues move on from.
Yeah.
And that's nothing too much against Gardner because I actually think on his day he is a decent a decent footballer. However, some of these older players that have been with the club for years now and haven't really, well, certainly haven't pushed us forward and have more taken us back. Not that that's down to themselves individually, but I'd like to see Blues starting to move on from some of these older players and inject a bit of youth and passion and some of these players who, you know, are here for the long run will get them now, and then in 4 or 5 years' time, they're superstars. So I think I'd probably agree with Sam, and I'd say I think Gary Gardner's probably had his time.
I think if he certainly wasn't Gardner, it'd be easy leave. Honestly, easy leave. I think it's that affiliation to Birmingham that some fans maybe keep hold of, but I think
my side argument to that, though, would be, and this is the only worry I have, is that if we get rid of everyone out of contract, we are left with a very youngish team, and you need some experience in that. And I mean, Rowett said it himself, like, even though he's not playing, the stuff he gives you in the change room, the way Gary is around the training ground, he helps improve them kids and get them better. Like, even if you're not going to play him and keep him around the club, I'm sure if he takes a wage cut and he's happy to do that, fantastic. Because you know what, you need an experienced head or two in League One. You're going to need an experienced head or two in the middle of the park, and there's going to be times where we're going to maybe with all the games we've got coming up, you're going to need a squad. And Gary Gardner's going to be handy.
He makes up the numbers as well.
Yeah.
We can't get rid of everybody on that contract list, surely, because we're going to buy in like 16 other players to make up the old squad. We ain't going to do that. We didn't do it this season.
We're saying this as if Gary Gardner's not a decent footballer. Like, he's a good footballer, and he gives 100% when he's on the pitch. I mean, 2 to 3 years ago, he was pivotal in that midfield for us, really. He was back and forth, box to box. And he showed his moments of quality this season. I mean, he was free kick against West Brom. No one can take that moment away from me.
That is a good point.
We
move on to Keshi Anderson. I think
keep.
100% keep. He'd honestly be one of the higher players on my list. I think Keshi Anderson. When we went down to League One, I was thinking, who's going to really perform? And I think Keshi Anderson would be one of them. I think he'll be a fairly easy player to keep hold of. Not, you know, he might want to go and play elsewhere, but I think he'll certainly be realistic to keep hold of. I think he'll do a fantastic job in League One. I think he'd be pretty much top of my list in terms of realistic players I want us to keep.
I just hope that he's not as afraid as he has been this season to just pulling the trigger a bit earlier.
Yeah, completely.
I've seen it so many times on your vlog story where you just screaming at Anderson to do something.
Or putting the fucking ball in the box as well. Jesus Christ, when he slipped over the ball after he did that little short corner with Payco, I was like, not on today. Like, for God's sake, just get the ball in the sodding box. But yeah, that's my only critique about Anderson. I like his work rate. I think he makes really clever runs as well. Because unlike Dembele, who has a lot with the ball on his feet, he doesn't really do much off the ball. He's particularly in recent weeks as well. You know, he's just not been at form at all. But I like Anderson, where he's always on the ball and everything, and then he's moving around in different places, and he makes it trickier. He might not have the ability that Dembele has, but I definitely think that he's capable of definitely being good enough in League One. So I agree. I think that's a keep. We'll go Hogan is the next one. Jamie, kick us off.
See ya. Sorry, but and look, listen, like I respect what he does and I respect the work rate he gives, but you can't score me one league goal all season with the number 9 in your back, man. We've got to move on from this. Like, we've got to. I don't know, because I don't want to be the guy to just be like, he's not. I'm lost for words. Someone please take over here, because I just don't know what I'm trying to chat here.
If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Again,
you're literally Jose Mourinho. So like, if I say anything, I'm gonna be in trouble here. So.
He ain't been good.
I think Hogan is sort of one of those players that I was sort of alluding to earlier, in that he's one of those players that have probably had his time. Hogan's been such a weird striker in that he'll have periods where he looks unreal, and he'll have periods where he can't hit a barn door. So I think Hogan's one of those, for me, a player that has had his time at Blues, given his probably high wages as well. I think Hogan probably should be one of the players to go.
Yeah,
you should make those players that score against us as well, wouldn't he? If you went to another club.
I also
score against us.
I feel like we might have done Hogan a little bit bad this year, in terms of Hogan has always, to me, been a 4-4-2 centre forward. He needs a strike partner to be Hogan. Like, I know we did a 4-2-3-1 and Stansfield was behind him at times, but Hogan with Duke, when 2 to 3 years ago, were unreal together.
They were decent,
if you want to be a team that has a Hogan, you need a big, massive shithouse next to him. A Sam Gallagher or someone next to a Scott Hogan will do you a job.
I
But
know
I
what
just
you mean.
think if you can't isolate Hogan on his own up front, it's never going to work for him. And that's nothing against him. You can't
Yeah.
help how tall you are. Like it's part of life.
You would know
Like-
very well, Jamie.
Wow.
I agree. I completely agree. I think the thing is with Hogan though, he just needs a bit of confidence because he's got
Yeah.
all the ability to do it. He looks like he doesn't believe in himself sometimes. It's a lot of it sometimes, and sometimes it can be down to other factors. We don't know his life and everything. That's why I'm hesitant to have a real go at him really, because he has been bang average for us in the last few years. But you can't really blame it all on him. Again, there's loads of factors in the reason we've not been great over the last however many years. But he is, I always look at him and think, you just don't look comfortable being at Blues, and with everything that you've got, your responsibility. So I don't know. He just needs a bit of confidence, in my opinion. I don't know. So obviously he's coming towards the end of his career now, so he probably won't be too looking for to revamp his career or whatever. I imagine he's in his 30s now, so it's like he probably wants a nice end to it all and everything. But he's got to find some confidence somewhere, because he is a decent player somewhere in there. There is a great goal scorer. He went to Villa for 15 million or whatever it was. So there is
I just saw a
definitely
comment saying
something there.
long-haired Hogan is brilliant. that
Yes,
sums it up
yeah,
perfectly.
yeah,
Like,
that is
that's
a very
that
good
initial point when he came in.
COVID Hogan was goated.
Yeah,
Like that COVID Hogan that we signed, that loan, he was a joker. That's what I mean. Like, and why was he so good? Because he had a Duke next to him.
Mm.
You know,
yeah, he
what I mean?
latched onto things, didn't he?
If you give Hogan the freedom to run about and have someone just to aim at, you know what I mean? If you can just ping it up to someone and go, Hogan, run around, cool, he will get you goals all day. But being that lone centre forward and taking goal kicks at him is never, ever in the history of football going to work. I'm sorry, but he's just not that guy.
I agree. Let's move on then. Cult hero of the Blues, Lucas Djukovic, out of contract. We've got 8 days to decide whether we're going to keep him or not. He obviously definitely wants to stay. He's shown a lot of emotion through it. But is he? Will the club keep him on?
Please give me please.
I say
We have to
keep
give him a
as
proper
well.
send-off, don't we? We have to give him like a
Give
proper send-off,
him
like actually
a
something to
year.
celebrate.
Would I want Lucas Djukovic starting games and playing all 90 minutes in a very hectic League One season? No. However, I would more than happily have Lucas Djukovic throughout the entirety of the League One season, come on for the last 15, 20 minutes, cause the opposition some problems, give him another year. If that's what he wants, give him another year.
I would agree.
I spoke to, obviously, I keep referring to John, the Portsmouth fan, but I spoke to him a lot and he said, what's going to happen, Jay, because this happens a lot in League One, is you're going to go away to teams that are just trying to survive, and they are literally going to deploy 10 men behind the bloody ball and look at you and say, what you got then? And you're going to need someone like a Lucas Djukovic this year to hold the ball up or just flick it on, or you're going to need an absolute unit at some points up front. You can't just rely on pacey counter-attack or, small lads to run through on goal. It's not going to happen in that league. These are a lot taller and a lot more physical.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I don't think he can do that anymore, though, to be quite honest. I think his time is really coming to an end. I think it's like a downward trajectory when you keep on getting older, really. And I think he's just following that trend, really. But I would do what we did with George Friend. I would keep him, give him a squad number, still give him the number 10, of course. But you would just keep him in the coaching staff side of things, really, and then just get him to give it.
If he calls it a day. If he calls it a day from football, you 100% get him in the backroom staff. Like, that man is a hero.
He keeps the good vibes around the dressing room, I would imagine, as well, because he's a lovely bloke. So I think he would keep the dressing room up, and that's kind of my argument for Gardner as well. It's he probably won't play many minutes. He doesn't this season as well, but he's a good player to keep around. He'll keep up the numbers and he'll chip in when he can. If we've got a couple of injuries, we might have to deploy him for a bit, but then. That's the sort of thing we can rely on with Gardner and Duke, and maybe even Sunjic. I mean, we agreed to let him leave, but also I think he's one of those people you could keep around, really. So it'd be interesting to work out that. But yeah, he's got to stay. We've got to have a proper send off for a big Blues hero. I mean, he's kept us in this division. He kept us in the Championship for God knows how long, and it's only been since he's starting to get a bit older that we can't stay in the bloody league anymore. So, yeah, I completely believe that we should keep him on. But yeah, let's go on.
A couple of comments about sentiment. So, sorry to add on there, Tony. I just wanted to bring up a couple of comments that I've seen about us being maybe a bit too sentimental towards some of these players or whatever. But with Dukey, I just can't help it. I couldn't say for him to leave. And I completely understand the point that people are making, the fact that it's like a fresh start and everything. But what you were saying for Gary Gardner about having someone there in the dressing room or whatever, that's the kind of role that I'd like to give Juki. And he's someone that you just run through brick walls for, wouldn't you? Like a team talk with him, and like me, I see him do like different stuff with media, and the way that he speaks about the club and what he expects from players or whatever. I just think it's good to have someone like that around. And I think for that role, Juki's perfect. He may not play a lot of minutes. I mean, this season he only played 13% of minutes in the Championship, which isn't a lot, but I just can't bring myself to say for him to leave without giving him like a proper send-off as well, something to celebrate. I mean, it'd be brilliant if we got to like the, Johnson's Pay Trophy final or something, and he could have like a send-off there, or I don't know, but I know can't say for Juki to leave.
Well, if we like hypothetically, end of next season, if we got last game at home, perfect send off. We're already promoted back to League One, back to the Championship. I was about to say back to League One. It's like I'm presuming we're going to get relegated next season. But yeah, it's just like I think like last game of the season at home, if we're already up, you could bring him on for maybe the last 10 minutes or whatever. Whatever we got planned. It's just like there you go. That's Djukovic there for you. So we need that because we didn't have that with Jude at all. So because obviously it was during lockdown and everything. So I want something like that because we should celebrate Djukovic. He's been an absolute trooper for us, and we don't celebrate things enough. So, like, if it's a small thing like that, then bring it on, And I want that as well. And I get the idea with the Blues Fest thing that they've got tomorrow. It's obviously not come at the right time, isn't it? Because it's obviously dedicated for Trevor Francis. Is it? Oh, actually, I don't know. I was about to say it's dedicated for Trevor Francis, but they're definitely doing a game for Trevor Francis, which is the right thing to do, because we didn't give him a proper send off, and whilst he was alive, of course. But we need stuff like that. We need to celebrate things like that again because we ain't got much else to celebrate, to be quite honest. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. We'll quickly run through the lonely list. Actually, I'll read them all out, and then out of the ones you just say which ones you want to keep. So there's Cody Drama who's on loan, Emmanuel Iwu, Andre Dizelle, Ollie Burke, and Jay Stansfield. Who do you keep out of that?
I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that if anyone has the audacity to say keep Oliver Burke, I am going to scream. I'm going to tell you all now, right? If anyone even says it, I'm done. I'm not.
I
want an explanation on this one.
So to think he started against Rotherham too. He actually started that Rotherham game. I
want someone at the club to explain to me the logic behind Ollie Burke. I want someone to just come out and give me an explanation.
I can't remember who tweeted it from Blues Focus earlier in the season. It wasn't me. That's why I'm thinking about it. But somebody was talking about like the things he hadn't done right in other clubs, and we got a little bit of backlash for it. And, like that's gone under the carpet now. That's because everybody else has just absolutely tore the poor guy to smithereens. Honestly, like he just hasn't. He's been just like Hogan, hasn't he? There's probably a decent player in there, but he ain't got the confidence to play like that, and he's just been a drag on the season, winning every game. And I do feel for the guy because it's just he's a bloke at the end of the day, so obviously you got to be considerate towards certain people in their lives and everything, but like at the same time, as a professional, mate, he's just not good enough, unfortunately, and he's found that out wherever he's gone, really.
I think the general, I think we can all agree Burke is just he's not cut out of Blues. I think Stansfield and Drama are just unrealistic. Do we all agree with that's just?
I'd love to keep them.
No, I think I agree. Yeah, I would love to keep them, of course, but Cody Drama would have been easier to keep up. We stayed up easily. We could have brought in someone like. Well, I don't know. Obviously we got Laird in that list still, so maybe the right back section's okay. But I would love to keep Cody Drama because it's been my player of the season, to be quite honest. I know Stansfield's had like a good sweep at the awards and definitely deserves them. But also as well, you look at players like Cody Drama, we think quality player, really good player. In fact, been fantastic at defending and back and forward. He's played in different positions all season. He's done a proper shift. So yeah, I think Cody Drama would have been a nice player to get hold of. But it depends what Leeds do, because if they stay in the Championship again next season, I mean, obviously there'll be other teams looking for him as well, I imagine. But I don't know. It depends really. If he's up for another loan, I would definitely throw your hat in the ring. I don't think we'd get him, but I definitely would say so.
And then obviously Dizelle. What do we think of?
He just hasn't worked, has he?
I like
victim of Mowbray leaving. I think he was like. I think he was a complete victim of change of system. Horses for courses kind of thing. think because of the situation we were in, we couldn't really play to the way that he wanted to and what he was brought in to do, I think, as well, because the way that Mowbray wanted to play was with midfielders that were more comfortable on the ball. And I think with Dazelle, he was just a victim of, changing strategy and a change in tactics, because he scored that winner, didn't he, against Blackburn in one of Mowbray's last games. And I thought, again, that was one of the fixtures that was a bit of a turning point. And I saw Dazelle in the team and thought, okay, this is the direction we're heading in. But just the changes of managers and him just being dropped out of the squad entirely, I do kind of feel bad for the guy because it wasn't completely his fault.
Yeah. He didn't really do anything wrong. That's the thing. I liked Dazelle. I liked what he brought. He was a classy little footballer, you know, and it's him and Paik at times in that middle of the park were playing some wonderful football. Like the little triangles they were doing and stuff like that. Like, and you're just like, well, this is what you want. Like, so I think Dazelle did nothing wrong. If you could bring Dazelle back 100%, he'd be fine in League One. He'd be more than comfortable.
I agree. Yeah,
it's a type of criteria we should be looking for in a midfielder now, like with passing attributes like he's got.
I just think though, like in terms of loan players, I mean, there's obviously other players that I wouldn't want to keep, like Emmanuel Iwo. I just don't think he's been up to the standard at all, really, all season. We've just made some weird signings in terms of those players, like obviously Burke and Dazelle and Iwo as well. So I don't know. I don't know what inspired that decision to bring them in, really, because I remember Burke was incredibly last minute. Iwo was a very weird one as well. So it was like all very rushed. And when they're like plane delays as well, or plane cancellations, so we couldn't get here.
I remember seeing that, and like the actual fee for if we would have bought him permanently, I think was like 3 million or something like that. Like we would not pay 3 million for him.
Fuck me. 3 million quid on Emmanuel Iwo.
Like if we wanted to buy him, that would be the fee that we had to pay. And we're definitely not doing that.
Yeah, that was a bullet well dodged. I mean, there's other players as well in the keep section, obviously contracted ones. But I don't know. It's I'll go on the contracted ones actually. I'll pose the question actually. Which ones would you sell out of the players we've currently got? So Sanderson, Laird, Longello, Buchanan, Williams, Bielik, Chang, Bakuna, James, Hall, Miyoshi, Pritchard, Sungho, Paik, Dembele, Donovan, and Tyler Roberts. Who would you sell out of that list?
Well, I guess it's a thing of obviously selling them, but then is it our hands kind of forced a bit with the amount of money we get for them? Is it one of them things where a couple of the players might think, I don't fancy League One, and we end up having to sell them? I just don't know who fits into that criteria. What would you guys have to think?
This sounds really silly, but if they've got more than i.e., I know Bielik for a fact has 2 years left on his contract. If he doesn't want to play in League One, because he wants to be a Polish international, he's not going to get a call up in League One. He will in the Championship, surely. If you turn around to a team like, as much as I hate to say it, Derby County, who are now up in Championship, and you say to them, look, we want to keep Bielik because we have an ambition to go back up, but if we loan him to you for the year, do you know what I mean? So they're still under you, but you loan them out for the year. You kind of go to
that's what they did with us, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think there's one or two that could leave like that.
Yeah,
and I think that's if you go up, you can keep them. What we did with, remember we went down and obviously we did that loan swap with Boaz Mile and Ben Foster, and we kind of went, look,
well done, Blues. You've always been great at transfers.
Right. But that kind of idea of, right, okay, we're going to loan him to you. If we don't go up, you get first dibs on you. Go for it, lad.
Yeah.
But like, if we come back up, you're playing for us again, mate. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. That's the smart way of doing things. I just don't think they'll agree to it, though. That's the thing, because I mean, like,
that's the only way you got a chance.
Yeah, you are right, because that is what happened with Derby, wasn't it? The fact that they didn't get promoted that season, and so we got hold of him. So we could do something like that. So I don't know though. It's whether they'll agree to it, because it was a bad move before, and I mean Derby won't get him. I don't think if we are going to look to loan him out or sell him. I think there'll be some other clubs in the Championship looking to get hold of him. Or maybe, I mean, we haven't considered people abroad as well. So, like, I think Miyoshi, if he's to go, I don't think the Championship club will have him. I think there'll be a few, like, maybe a couple of teams, like, back in, I don't know, you come from Royal Antwerp or wherever it was. So maybe you might go back there or something. I think personally, though, like, I mean, sorry, Zach, but I feel like Longello's on my sell list.
That's fair.
I don't know as well though. Like players who haven't performed very well, but I don't know whether I should sell. Like Tyler Roberts, I don't know if he'll be okay for League One. He certainly hasn't been up to standards over the course of the season to be good enough. perhaps because of injuries as well. There was obviously he's a rigid, injury-riddled lad. But also players like Paik, of course, who just seem to have been like a bit on and off at times. I like him as a player, I really do. But in terms of like a team performance at times, he's been a little bit out of the game. Sariki Dembele, he seems like a very attitude-wise player. If he's up for it, then I think we'll get the best of him. But when he's not, when he doesn't look like he's up for it, he just there's no look to him at all, really. Because honestly, remember earlier in the season, start of the season, when he was played right out on the left by Eustace, he was absolutely unstoppable. Like in that Bristol City game, I don't think I've seen a better performance from a Blues player in donkeys.
Huddersfield at home as well. That was fantastic.
He murdered them, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, we were fantastic that night, and that's where things started to disappear, really, in terms of the team performances. I mean, obviously Coventry was great, but also, it wasn't in it was a pivotal moment in the season. But teams always do stuff like that. Look at Wednesday, for example, like they've stepped their game up towards the end of the season. But like the way that we were doing it towards like the middle bit of the season, we were starting to get over that hump that we always do when we come into that sort of December time. And then we fuck it up with Rooney, and then the whole team sort of falls apart because he moves him into the middle, then back out left, then right, then Stansfield's on the right and everything. So, yeah, I mean, he's not all to blame, but also at the same time, some bad performances from him this season. So there's a couple of players on that I'm not sure list really out of the contracted players, but I would personally, I'd try and keep hold of them as many as we can, really, because we've got to build a squad for next season and then just improve where we need to. But one thing is for sure, we need a captain. That is the absolute number one. Because Dion Sanderson, he's a 23-year-old lad. Whoever decided to make him captain, such a stupid thing, because you put so much pressure on him. And yes, obviously he's done some stupid things, drink driving and everything. You can't put so much pressure on him before the start of the season, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, wrong fit. If anybody that was going to be captain this season, it would have been like Ruddy or somebody like that. So he's like wise head on the shoulders. You need that in a team. What's he going to be like in that dressing room? I personally don't think it was a good move. So we need a good, experienced, preferably defender. Because they always make
just the leaders on the pitch. Really, when like the tide starts to go against us, I've seen it so many times this season where we've just crumbled. I think the amount of late goals we've conceded highlighted that, where if the momentum's against us, then we just completely capitulate. So you need those people on the pitch that pick up the players and go, right, it may be going against us, but we've just got to focus on what we're doing, just ignore the outside noise. And I think this season, the amount of capitulations I've seen, like last-minute goals, it comes down to a lack of leadership. So 100% we need leaders. Yeah,
Rowett made a good point about that, actually. He said that we need players who are going to be there all season, you know what I mean? And this is a very confidence team, like I said earlier. It's like we've had times this season where we just don't look quite up for it, and the crowd's dim and Ethan Laird's giving it all the arms and everything.
That really annoyed me this season.
It really annoyed me, because fair enough, Ethan Laird, really nice guy. I really like him as a player as well. I think he works hard as well. But there's something about it where, like, I said it earlier with Tom Wagner as well, like saying that the atmosphere was bad the whole game, and it was. I'm not saying it isn't as well. But you can't have a go at us for saying why the team ain't performing well, And yes, they've won in all the sellout games. But fucking anybody could, And it's coincidence basically that we've won it on those days. It's not really the fact that we've turned up in our numbers. It might have a play in it and everything, and it probably definitely does. But like, we're not the reason that we were in this mess at the first place. Like, we won 4-1 and there was barely anybody in the stadium for that Huddersfield game that night. It's like it's those type of things, really. So like, they need to sort of work out the fact that there are going to be nights where there's nobody in the stands. It's cold, it's dark, it's not going to be enjoyable. So they need to really knuckle down and realize that it ain't that personal, honestly. It's one of those things where, and there are other people who do them really well. I mean, like, whether you liked him or not as a player, like Harley Dean and other players from that squad, they still were there, in those really boring times in the season, basically, and they were trying to get results, whether they did or not. Exactly, it doesn't really matter. But like, those type of players, that they'll stick in it, and they're used to taking criticism as well. And I'm not sure that this group of players really can take criticism that well. I'm not presuming much, but like, from what I can tell from them, sometimes it looks like they take all the stuff that we throw at them sometimes when they've lost a game a little bit too personally. And I'm like, it ain't that though, really. Like we're just annoyed from the game. You know, we'll probably get over it in about a day or so. But like those performances have dropped because of it. But like other players like Harley Dean, he would not give a fuck what people thought about him. You know, he could just carry on the way he did. You know, he still play the next week. Don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about that. And we need more players like that. And some of those other players really do need to realize that. Just get knuckled down. You know, we just need to win this game or get a point and get towards that top of the table. That's what we need to do next season. A good captain would help that massively as well.
Agree. Like someone who's been there a while and just kind of can take it on the chin would be great. I mean, Bielik would have been my ideal captain this season, if I'm honest. I think Bielik would have been great. Shall we address the elephants in the room, which is one, Jordan James is definitely going. I don't care what anyone says.
100%.
And Baka.
I want us to keep Baka. I
agree. I'd love us to keep him.
I think he's had a good season by all accounts. I think he's another player who often gets criticised when he maybe doesn't deserve it. I know he does divide opinion, but I'm certainly on the side that I think he'll be fantastic in League One. I'd love us to keep Baka.
Baka will take the absolute piss in League One. Don't get me wrong. Like he'd be a joke, wouldn't he?
That's the thing about Bacuna is he's another one of those confidence players. And I know I've said this a lot.
Absolutely
now,
confidence player.
He's a massive confidence player because who remembers that run he did against Huddersfield 2 seasons ago? First home game of the season under Eustace. Like that run he did against them, like went past 3 players, a little dummy before the keeper, and then the shot got blocked on the line. Would have been an absolutely unbelievable goal that he scored it, by the way. But like, where's that Bacuna? You know, like I feel like we need to give him a proper free role in the League One team. Put him in the centre of midfield. Don't put him out on the wing. Stop playing him at right back. We've got to really get a hold of that next season as well. None of that shit again. You know, we're a League One team. We fair enough. You know, we've got a really good squad and everything for that league. We need to stop doing that, though. We can't keep playing Donald Hernandez at left wing back. Do you know what I mean? Just give him.
I'm actually thinking of that. I was actually thinking of that situation when you said about good at right back.
That was part of my Rooney head loss this year. Was that there was a point where I was watching a game and I was like, right, why is Jorginho Bacuna playing left wing and Siriki Dembele in the middle of the park? Like, what is going on here?
Was that Middlesbrough game, wasn't it?
Yeah, like what? Why we do it? Why we got arguably our most creative footballer on the wing, but then you give the free roll to Dembele. Like, come on, like you want one bursting down the wing. And I mean, we saw what Baka can do. He flicked it over the keeper in Cardiff and tapped it into an empty net. He's an absolute piss taker when he wants to be. If he's on it, like the guy's unreal.
I think.
It's a question though. Well, no, sorry, Zach, you go first.
I was just gonna say, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves a lot of the time. Baka, I think he's been more pivotal to us this season than people realise.
You know, I was just going to say, like, a question to you guys. Do you think Bacuna would want to play in League One?
He was the first to apologise. He's been the first player to come out and say sorry from what I've seen.
True. Yeah. I don't know, though. I ain't too sure whether we would. I think if he gets another offer, he'd probably go.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I don't know. I think it's back as one of those ones where I'm really not sure what he'll want. It's again, the ball will probably be in his court as it will most of the players. I have no idea whether he'll stay or go. I couldn't tell you.
Because I think with Eustace, he knew how to coach Bacuna and get the best out of him. He knew that Bacuna was the type of player that would benefit from like an arm around the shoulder, lots of praise, you know, not too much criticism. And I think the way that you coach Bacuna is so impactful on the way that he performs on the pitch and just giving him that confidence, as you said, Tommy.
Well, that is exactly what John Eustace did. Whether people liked him or not was irrelevant. He unified that dressing room because there'd been a few years before where it was a little bit on edge. Obviously, when Bowyer left as well, it was very on edge as well. So
we were the favourites to go down when Eustace took over.
Yeah,
we're literally the favourites, like Bookie's favourites.
He knew that he had a dressing room full of people who weren't exactly confident in themselves, and he got into them and he said, "Look, you know, let's perform as best we can." And all the things he did with the fans and everything, you know, it was like I missed that as well, you know, because like obviously with Rooney, it was like fuck all of that, you know, and that really annoyed me in the very first instance where he like in the Middlesbrough game, he didn't come over before the game. Obviously, because it was a massive move, and Addy had literally just come over to the fans and clapped us like for 5 seconds. Literally, that it would have changed everything really about his persona. Because there was a lot of people who weren't on side with him from the get go. There was a lot of people who were on side with him, and there was people in the middle of it that made up the majority. But then, like you compare the way that Eustace obviously he took on a lot of criticism. He was very balanced in what he said about things. Rooney comes in, never claps the fans, never said any acknowledgements. And when he did, it was too late, you know, and he was like always having a go at the players and everything. So like the management of what he did in that time just got it completely wrong, you know. And like Eustace, he got it spot on, really. You can't say anything else other than that, you know, because he just, we weren't a great side under him. We really weren't. We played some really poor football at times, but he obviously connected with the players very well. And definitely that Janino Bacuna would benefit from an arm around the shoulder. And I personally agree. I personally think we need a few more players that need the air dryer treatment, to be honest. So, you know, and you can, like, if you're a manager and you say, I want to give the air dryer treatment to a few of those players, you know, they ain't going to work like that. You know, that's, I've just said
I
that.
think coaching is so different as well now, like compared to what it was years gone by, wasn't it? What players react to. I just think it's just so different the way that it's kind of like evolved from, you know, managers before just like shouting at the players in the dressing room. And some players, yeah, they may benefit from that. But I think with our squad, that's just not the way to operate, because we've seen it last season with Rooney in the way that he ridiculed the players publicly and said, if I could make 11 changes at halftime, I would. And clearly the players
Not
didn't
exactly
react to
what
that.
the Sky Sports people said.
Oh, well, what did they say?
What, do you not remember it?
Well, what did they say?
Well, they said that if I had the opportunity, I would have subbed them all off at half time. The way that other people heard it was like different way. I'm not going to say it on the stream,
yes,
because
I
obviously,
remember.
come on, Jacob, man. You even messaged it me. So like, do you see what they said at Sky?
No.
That was funny. That was.
The issue is what we did this season. Now, I don't want to go into this Wayne Rooney rabbit hole because I'll be here for 9 hours going on about this. My only issue is that he had zero care for the fans, in my opinion. He didn't come over and clap us. The other thing is, did you ever, any goal we scored under Rooney, did you see him do anything else but stand there with his hands in his pocket, motionless?
Tried to be too Ancelotti, didn't he?
Like, what kind of a footballer do you want to be if that is your manager?
Yeah, I agree.
I have more passion in my pinky than that man had for our football team. Like, not a chance. Like, he didn't give a shit, and you don't want to play
and even if he did do well, you knew he'd like move on to a Premier League club, wouldn't he? Like, if there's a slimmest chance that like a Premier League club was in for him or something, we were like in the top six. Obviously, very hypothetical situation, but you knew he just would have jumped ship. Like,
100%.
His heart was never in it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, guys just said this in the comments. He thought it was too good for us, and it just stunk of that, didn't it? And everything about it, they just got the whole situation. They just didn't read the room right at all, you know. And I remember it was October, wasn't it, that we got him, that we sacked Eustace for him. And I just remember thinking, it's just going to happen, isn't it? There's not even any consideration going through my mind about the time, thinking, it might just be a rumor or whatever. It might be something for the future. I just knew immediately that this is going to happen. I know it. It's just like, it's the way the Blues do things, unfortunately. Just like no thought, really. It appears like it, the way we go about things.
Yeah, it's been like that for a while now, but hopefully they've learned from past mistakes, whoever's contributed to some of the decisions made this season, and hopefully, we can just move forward and move on. And as we said at the top of the podcast, win some games of football for once.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be all right. That's it. We've just got to be positive in this. We've just got to be positive and move on. We all said we didn't want to go down. We've gone down. Now's the chance to get the squad out and give them young lads a bit of game time as well. Why not?
Yeah,
I'd love to see Romel Donovan. I would have loved to have seen him more this year. Junior Dixon, what has that man got to do?
I think he'll get a position in the squad next season, definitely. Yeah, I think so. I think we've pretty much come to the end of this podcast. One last thing I do want to talk about, actually, in terms of like a little wish list for next season. Obviously, we're keeping Nike next season, and as a kit connoisseur in myself, as a collector as well, I want a good kit next season, and I've been very disappointed by the kits that we've had under Nike. I've got my Adidas shirts in front of me here, and I look at them and think, there's some really good ones there, actually. I look at the Nike ones and think, honestly, you could whack another badge on it and be like, I could probably see that, Peterborough or Portsmouth or something like that. So I would actually like for next season, I know it might be a little bit out of date nowadays, but I'd love a Penguin kit back. You know what I mean? Just it'd be fantastic.
It's every year, isn't it? Every year I hear it.
Bring him
I would, particularly this season, there needs to be some feel good around the club. We're in a very shit situation. A proper royal blue Penguin kit really stand out from everybody else in the league. It looked great. We have a yellow away kit as well, like we kind of had under the Gary Monk season with Adams and everything. Like that was a quality kit as well, So like, just small details like that, they go a long way, particularly for football fans like me. Like we don't really ask for much in terms of like on the pitch or anything. We just like work hard and everything, and the look and feel of the club will look great then. And like I remember when we went to West Ham for the FA Cup game a few years ago. I remember looking at us on the pitch and thinking, yeah, we look like a Premier League team there, like the kit and the players and everything, and obviously with the surrounding, like West Ham's ground's a fantastic ground to be in. So like the look and feel of everything was like, yeah, I could imagine us being a Premier League side today. But obviously in the last few seasons, I look at the kits and every single one that's come out, I've always been a bit like, oh, that's just not very interesting.
I think this season we have got our own design, haven't we? I think Gary Cook did say that we've got our own thing going with Nike now, so it's not going to be like one of those generic ones. So at least that's something.
We've had far too many kits like that in the past. I mean, like, obviously the whole thing with the sewn-on badges as well, that was quite funny as well. But we couldn't even strike a deal with Nike to get the sewn-on badges of those shitty little sticker ones that just flick off after 5 minutes. So yeah, that's just like a little wish list type of thing. I think we're going for like like Craig says in the comments there, 150th year celebration. So bring back the penguin kit. Even like I think it's the colour for me personally. I mean, I'm really clutching at straws here, but like it's got to be, like the blue in the kit this season. It ain't right for us, It's got to be a nice dark blue, and I got to feel like pride in wearing it as well. Like that kit this season, I've hardly ever worn it. I don't think anybody has as well. Like people have bought it, of course, but like I guarantee you, if they make a penguin kit or a proper, really good-looking Blues kit, people will wear it everywhere. Literally on the home games, away games, first days of the season, everything. Like just only that kit everywhere, and the sales will be massive for it as well. Because obviously, I know people are Gary Cook and everybody's getting into like obviously trying to keep the revenue around the club and everything. I can guarantee you, if you have a penguin kit and a proper Blues away kit as well. They used to do some research into like a proper Blues shirts, like the sash one as well for like the 140th year. That was great as well. So yeah, just like a little small thing at the end.
I'd agree. I actually we were learning about this a few weeks ago. I think it's quite interesting. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of clubs don't often go for the retro shirts is because actually a lot of the times, apparently, and this is just from what I've heard a few people say, sales tend to be the lowest because people either just want the retro shirt or they've already got the retro shirts, they won't buy the modern one, or a lot of the time the modern one fails to replicate what the retro one did.
That is true.
So I think that's why a lot of the time clubs tend to steer away from the retro stuff. However, with it being 150 years, with us, people are a bit down at the moment about Blues. Just bring the penguin kit back. Why not? Just bring it back.
Would you have like the badge in the middle? Would you have to the side?
Proper penguin.
As it was.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
One thing I really like about the Umbro one, actually, from 2007-08, was the fact that they had the badge in the middle there, but they didn't have the Umbro one as well above it. So it was just Blues. They obviously had Umbro stuff elsewhere. But like you look at Nike, it's just, I mean, like the one thing about those Nike shirts, actually, is the fact that the Nike badge is stitched on, but the Blues one isn't. So it's like the disrespect almost, it feels like it's ridiculous, really. So like, obviously, undefeated. I'm going a bit glitchy. Why am I doing that? That's really annoying. The undefeated sponsor, top quality. I love that this season, and having a good sponsor as well really feels great on you. And the front of the kit sponsor really matters. So I personally think that like that we can stay that have the nice undefeated sponsor there, and then the Blues badge, and then the Nike tick maybe below it or something like that. So I don't know. Something like that. It's got to look like a Blues kit, though. We can't just go for it's just like some sort of modern tick version. I don't know. I don't understand what that wave pattern's all about. I don't see it. I initially, when I first saw the leaked photos, because everything gets leaked nowadays, I thought it might be like the city lining or something like that, like the skyscrapers and everything. I thought that's quite good. That's quite a good touch. And then on closer inspection, it's like, no, it's not actually. It's just the random pattern. I thought, yeah, fuck it, stick it in. It'll look good. So it doesn't look like they've had much consideration with it, and I'm probably wrong about that, but it just looks like they've had a look at a couple of the designs that Nike have gone, yeah, we'll have that one, that looks good, But like everybody else in the comments, there's not anybody defending the kit this season. It's all just like, yeah, we'd love a penguin kit, need a new good look. I mean, like the 80s Patrick shirt, guys saying here, that's a quality kit, that is. I don't know which one you don't know whether you guys know that one, but like that's great shirts, like the Ansels ones as well, they were good as well. So yeah, I
need to
want a
do
proper good
something.
looking kit next season, even if it
Yeah.
isn't a Penguin kit, just a good looking blue shirt. That's all. You
Yeah.
know, some bit of white in. I like the dark blues in it as well, but I just make it look like a blue shirt, a proper blue as well. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, they need to do something, don't they, to win us back. And this is my last point I'm going to put across: season tickets.
Yes,
Do
that's a
you
good point.
reckon
Actually, yeah.
that this is something I'm like, because obviously revenue is now massive for signings. What they're going to do? I'm hoping they just do a price freeze. They surely won't up the prices after getting relegated.
It'd be a bad move, but people still will buy them. I mean, I'm going to buy them whatever because obviously I've got an
Same.
interest in
I'm
this now.
renewing.
But still, yeah, I think they could follow something what Huddersfield have done, couldn't they?
I've seen that.
Yeah, Huddersfield's are
and
very well priced, aren't
very
they?
good.
Yeah, I don't know though. Depends because, I mean, surely if they followed in Huddersfield, it wouldn't be too bad, would it? It's not like that much. We get bigger revenue from other things, don't we?
It's always so hard to know from the outside looking in, like how much will season ticket prices being £100 cheaper impact the club. I mean, I always think it's so hard to comment on stuff like wages, FFP, prices, because it's just so hard that if the club do have the financial capabilities to price them similarly to Huddersfield's, then we'd be very appreciative as fans.
I mean, if there's any increase, it's going to be uproar surely at this point. I paid $4.50 for my ticket this year. It's a whack in the wallet, man. Like, you know what I mean?
It is, yeah.
It's
It
expensive.
is a big payment, yeah. I mean, you can buy them on finance, but I don't know whether that has like APR or anything on that on top of it.
I know people who did it, and I think it was, it's still a whack. I think you're paying $4.81 or something, or $4.90. I think it's not unreasonable for a finance offer, but
yeah.
I suppose what I'm saying is
bit.
just, surely we can't at this point kind of try and, because I know they're trying to obviously do the new stadium and all that's coming in, and we're still building a massive stadium. This club is still looking to go forward. I'm just hoping that because we've gone down, they're not just going to go, we need money, let's up the prices. I don't think they'd be that bad, and I don't think they'd be that silly to do it.
No, I think they're obviously they're smarter than what we take them for, of course. But yeah, I hope they don't, because it'll be interesting to see what the fans have to think about that. Because I mean, like we don't sell many season tickets anyway. But I think this season we've kind of, I would almost say that we've actually could have more season tickets this season.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like that might be the case. I feel like there's a bit more in the club this season. Do you know what I mean? Like there's obviously we had last season. Obviously that was okay for season tickets. I don't know. It could go up this season. I think. I feel like the vibe around the club is a bit different from what it was a few years ago. Because like, why would you want to buy a ticket? There's nothing going on anyway. But I think even though we have got relegated, there's something to go and watch at the weekend, isn't there? I think that's what people are interested in doing. So maybe I think that might be a possibility actually. But it's definitely it either needs to be freezed or lowered, but it can't go up. Surely not. I'd be amazed if they'd have to do it. I can understand that they've made mistakes on the pitch and everything because they probably don't have that much experience as a collective, to understand too much about football. But surely they must know about that, to not be too stupid about that. I'd be interested to see though if there's any other revenue things they're going to do, like whether they're going to get another sponsor in or something like that. Because I know Undefeated were a good brand to get involved with, but whether we're going to get somebody else this time, I'm not entirely sure. The guys just saying get Jordan as our sponsor next season. That would be quite interesting. But there again, I don't want to be PSG to be as well. I still want to maintain a little bit of Blues, to be honest. I think that's another thing with the kit as well, is the fact that we've got a lot of other things, trying to get different cultures in with the Blues, which is cool and everything. But like when the kit don't even look like yours, it's like, yeah, it's got to look like Blue still, It's like the other clubs I've done that with before, they try to design like a whole new look for the club, which is cool and everything. And everything they've done this season off the pitch has been fantastic, but like it's got to look like Blue still. You can't drop between those points there when you're going to do that. So that was a very brief summary of the 23-24 season. Of course, we could go on for much, much longer because it's been an absolutely mental season, to say the least. Jamie, Zach, and Sam, thank you guys for dropping on the call tonight for the last podcast of the season. I imagine, I'm not entirely sure, we'll be back in a couple of weeks because there's not going to be too much going on now. Maybe in a week's time, maybe we might react to the release list or whatever.
Yeah,
we might have a look at some of the rumors going around the club as well, but we're not going to make too many big videos at the moment because one, I need a rest, to be quite honest, and also I'm going back to work and everything. So yeah, we're still going to be doing a few things over the summer. I've still got a few ideas for videos and that. And we will be going to the pre-season tour as well, so I'm quite looking forward to, actually. Austria is going to be good. I like the look of what the country has to offer. Vlogs will be back next season. We're going to pre-season games, EFL trophy games, League One games, and FA Cup games. There's still going to be plenty of content to come, if anything more. We've got a real good feel around the channel at the moment. Things are doing well. We haven't spoke about the viral clip, have we? But yeah, I think it speaks for itself, really. I might get some. Actually, I was about to say we should get some merchandise of "Have Hull Scored" on a T-shirt or something like that with my face on it. That'd be quite funny.
We've got a lot of summer plans, haven't we? That's the thing. There's a lot of stuff we haven't announced yet. That it's going to be good. It's going to be great this summer. We're going to make it fun and interesting. And my God, we're going to be busy when the transfer window opens.
Definitely, yeah. We should also mention as well, we've done a lot of podcasts as well. We've done like Paul Robinson. Obviously, the big one of the year was obviously Stephen Knight as well, which was fantastic that we actually had something to do like that. Yeah, it was amazing, really. I don't think we've still mentioned we haven't done very well with promoting the things this year, to be quite honest, because obviously we've won an award as well since that time as well. We won the it's a big long title, I can't remember exactly what it is, but best content creator in the EFL category at the Football Content Awards, which was a brilliant night. I can't be honest, it was fantastic. Me, Jamie, and Adam, who runs the channel, we went.
Peaky Blinders took over that night, from what I heard.
We went to a. This is probably going to be a bit longer now. I thought I was about to answer it, but we went to a pub just before we went in, all of the gear on. It was Adam's idea, before anybody gets on my case about this, but we went in there, and Adam says, "Yeah, can we get like 3 Jacks on the rocks?" I was like, "Oh, what are we doing in this pub? We're going to get our heads kicked in." The Scousers are looking at us, looking and just like laughing at us. It was quite embarrassing, to say the least.
I'm telling you now, nice rowdy pub. Everyone's talking. 3 Brummies walk in there in full Peaky Blinders suits, and you could cut everyone just went and just stared at us, and I was like, "This is a bad idea."
Were you guys in character?
Yeah. Well, no, the problem is you can't even play like your Scouse. Like, so I've got this accent. This is what I'm born with. So I'm like, "You're right, Bab," and everyone's just looking at me at that point. I'm like, "Right, I'm fucked." Like,
I'm shy to Scouse accents. I really can't do it.
I'm done. Like, Adam's like, "Yeah, it's a great idea." I'm like, "Adam, this is literally called, was it the 12th Man or something? Like, this is the pub next to Anfield. What are you doing?"
Literally, yeah. It was the pub next to it. You could see it out the fucking window. That's how fucking close we were. Right before we were about to go into an award. Had we lost the award at that point, I'd have looked to him and gone, "You're an idiot. Why did you do that to us?" Oh, fucking hell, it was funny. But yeah, we've done a lot this season, and we're going to be doing a hell of a lot more next season. I'm looking forward to talking to a few different fans, obviously, next season. Obviously, different teams to play and everything. So if you're watching this end bit of the podcast and you would like to get involved, or if you know anybody who would get involved with us next season, we're very open to it. We're going to be doing a few videos, match reactions and that sort of stuff. Stephen Knight podcast, award, relegation season. It's been a very eventful year. It really has. And Rooney getting sacked. There's been a few big videos that we've done this year, big vlogs. I think we've had about 4 that have properly blown up as well, for our standards, not like broke the internet or anything. But yeah, it's been a great year, and I think that we're getting there now. I think that's the thing. It took a while to get things really going, but we're going places now, and whether we're glitching out or not, I don't care. But we've done a smashing season, boys. Should all be very proud of yourselves. And yeah, thank you all for watching as well. It's been a great year, off the pitch in a way. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to share this to a few people if they haven't heard of us before. And yeah, thank you for listening, and keep right on.
You're right.